This conference will now be recorded.
I'm going to call the May 5th, 2020 regular council meeting to order. Go ahead with the roll call, please.
McKeever.
Here.
Myers.
Here.
B.
Here.
Truca. Truca is muted. Welcome.
Here.
Vote.
Here.
Allsept.
Here.
Thank you.
Need a motion to accept the minutes from the April 7th, 2020 special meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Is that McKeever and Yocum?
It was Myers. It was Jim, me, and it's
Okay, I'll do a roll call vote, as I will for everything tonight. Me.
yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Vote.
Yes.
Allsept.
Yes.
McKeever.
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
And Truca. Muted, but he just said yes. Thank you.
Need a motion to accept the April 16th, 2020 special meeting minutes.
So moved, Myers.
Second, McKeever.
Okay, Myers.
Yes.
McKeever.
Yes.
B.
Yes.
Truca. Yocum.
Yes.
Vote.
Yes.
Allsept.
Yes.
Thank you.
Need a motion to accept the April 21st, 2020 regular meeting minutes.
So moved, Myers.
Second. Also.
Okay, Myers.
Yes.
Allsept.
Yes.
McKeever.
Yes.
Me.
Yes.
Truca. Yocum.
Yes.
Vote.
Yes.
Thank you.
Communications and petitions.
Okay, we have 3 letters. I'll go straight through them. The first letter is from Gregory C. Hershey, IASF Bucyrus Local 1120 President. It is addressed to the Bucyrus City Administration, Bucyrus City Council, regarding the FEMA SAFER Grant. Honorable Mayor, City Council, and Bucyrus Community, on behalf of Bucyrus International Association of Firefighters Local number 1120, I would like to extend our support to the SAFER Grant being considered by the city. As first responders to fires, public safety, and medical emergencies, disasters, and terrorist acts, Bucyrus City Fire Department protects the lives and property of Bucyrus City residents and visitors. The department advances public safety through its fire prevention, investigation, and education programs. We extend this support for the purpose of providing adequate staffing to provide this service. We also understand the financial responsibilities that you have to the citizens of the city. Increased manpower creates opportunity to earn a higher public protection classification, or PPC, from the Insurance Services Office, Inc., or ISO. The higher rating may benefit residents and businesses in Bucyrus through the reduction of property and casualty insurance premiums. Many insurers use ISO's public protection classification system when considering the likelihood of loss to structure fires. In general, premiums for fire insurance in a community with a good PPC are substantially lower than a community with a poor PPC, assuming all other factors are equal. We also feel that if you are considering that we provide the EMS service, then this grant is imperative to providing the needed funds to start action. Also feel that it would be prudent to be honest with all parties involved so that we can move forward in providing a consistent service for our citizens. We cannot achieve success without action. We're proud to serve this community and fully believe this will help us continue providing the best service now and into the future. To attract employers and residents to our area, it is important that we show that local conditions are conducive to their success. I will gladly answer any questions in regards to our support of this grant. Gregory C. Hershey, President, Bucyrus Local 1120. The second letter is dated April 27 of this year. It is from Terry L. Etzinger II and Kathleen Etzinger of 509 Sear Street. It is addressed to Bucyrus City Council. Dear council members, October 8, 2019 was the first time I went to the Bucyrus City Engineer's office to address concerns about the property at 510 Myers Street, which is owned by Nancy and William Dunford Jr. This property is adjacent to the back of my property on 509 Sear Street. I have shared photographs and the following concerns with the engineer's office. 1, the property owners erected a fence without a permit. 2, the property owners erected a shed with a deck without a permit. 3, the property owners allow a person or persons to live in this shed. A young man told my wife that it was his mother. 4, the property owners refused me access to my property for mowing purposes. My property line is between 2 and 3 feet beyond my fence. They erected a gate between my fence and their shed. This gate is on my property. I can physically open the gate to access my property, but the property occupants verbally harass me to remove myself from my own property. They erroneously spout nonsense that they have been mowing my property for 30 years. 5, from time to time, the property owners store junk on my property. 6, the property owners allow their dogs to run on my property along my fence line to agitate my dogs. My neighbor at 501 Sear Street had to jump through hoops, as they say, to erect a lean-to on his property. My neighbor at 510 Myers Street can do whatever he wants with no consequences. I was told this matter was forwarded to the Bucyrus City Law Director's office. 6 months later, nothing has changed. I was advised by the Bucyrus City Law Director, Mr. Rob Ratliff, that I may need to hire an attorney to file suit against my neighbors at 510 Myers Street. I am not the person breaking the law. Sincerely, Terry L. Etzinger Jr., and you'll see attached are several photos of what he has been describing. The third letter is dated May 4 of this year. It is addressed to the City of Bucyrus Permits and Zoning Department. It is from Mr. and Mrs. Mark York of 501 Sear Street. We had to go through processes and permits for home improvements. We pay taxes, we abide by the law. In the past 12 months, the property of 510 Myers Street, which is to our northwest property line, has put a shed on the property line with no posted permit, also constructed a privacy fence that crosses over the property lines with no posted permit. There is an outbuilding that has existed for years. I consider it a shed. It's now become a resident from my understanding in the city of Bucyrus from your website. You cannot take up occupancy in a shed. There's also an acquaintance that lives at 736 Ann Street Apartments, which is a known drug spot. They use my yard and my neighbors as a drug pathway. The owners of 736 Ann Street choose to do nothing about this issue, Mr. and Mrs. Harris. This has been reported to you previously from other neighbors that are landowners and taxpayers. I'd appreciate for you to access this situation as soon as possible. I do not want my property values to go down anymore. This is how Little Kentucky Willard Street began. Thank you, Mark York, and you have his phone number. And those are the 3 letters, and we need to accept and file those 3 communications.
Need a motion to accept and file.
So moved. Alsep.
Second, McKeever.
Okay, Alsep,
Yes.
McKeever,
Yes.
Myers,
Yes.
me,
Yes.
Truca, Yocum,
Yes.
and Fote.
Yes.
Thank you.
Granting permission for visitors to speak. Is there any visitors that would like to address council? Please state your name and address. Okay, no visitors. Standing committee reports, I believe we have, are these the amended minutes, Mr. Hill?
Yes, the first that you see in your packet are the header page for the April 9 joint regular committee meeting. You'll see under item 2, what is the star on the left is what has been changed, what has been lined out is being removed, and what is in bold is being added. That is the requested amendment before council.
Okay, we need a motion to amend these minutes.
So moved.
Second, Myers.
Was that McKeever and Myers?
Yes.
Okay, McKeever,
Yes.
Myers,
Yes.
me,
Yes.
Truca, Yocum,
Yes.
Fote,
Yes.
Alsept.
Yes.
Thank you.
And we have also some more minutes to amend from the April 9th, 2020 Ad Hoc Committee.
Yeah, I'll explain these. These are as we just mentioned, and the changes that you'll see on here. The requested amendments are on page 4 of 9. The inclusion is in blue, and that is on page 4 and 5 of 9. Also, page 6 of 9, there's a star next to it. It's one line up at the top on page 6. And there's one more on page 8, at the bottom of 8, and there's a star up to the left. The requested amendments are those 3 for those minutes, and that is before the committee, or before the council.
We need a motion to amend these minutes.
So moved. Alsept.
Okay, I believe that was Myers.
Second, Alsept.
Okay, did I hear a yes? Yes,
Yes.
okay, and Alsept?
Yes.
McKeever,
Yes.
me,
Yes.
Truca, Yocum,
Yes.
Vote.
Yes.
Thank you.
And we had a joint regular committee meeting on April 23rd that also had some special meetings mixed in with it. But Mr. Foat, could you give us an update starting with the Economic Development Committee?
Yes, I called the joint regular committee meeting to order at 6 p.m. All members were present. We were via live stream because of the coronavirus. Number 2, we had no public participation. We started with economic development at 6:01. We had the CHIP grant up, the yearly CHIP grant. We just basically needed to pass the legislation so that way they can start the program and start accepting applications. I received a motion in a second, and we passed it on to the council, and we'll vote on it this evening.
The Public Lands and Buildings Committee started at 6:03 p.m. We talked about the Mary Street land parcel. Property owner on Mary Street is interested in acquiring a small plot of land, adjacent land from the city. The property is unplatted. We went ahead, Vote made a motion to request legislation authorizing the administration to establish ownership. With a second by Truca. Ratliff said if legislation is passed as an emergency, the process to plat the parcel can begin right away. So we went ahead and passed that as an emergency. Or what's that? Sorry, I thought somebody was saying something. Number 2, we brought up the City Hall generator. The administration said the generator at City Hall needs to be replaced after burning up in February. Originally, they were asking for $50,000, and it turned out actually because the amount of money that it's going to cost, it's going to be $35,000 that we, council doesn't have to approve it. I recessed the Public Lands and Buildings Committee at 6:10 p.m.
Okay, has anybody got any question for Ms. Yocum, or I apologize, I didn't ask about Mr. Foat as well. Okay, hearing none, moving on, the special committee that was for the ad hoc council rules, Mr. Myers.
We met at 6:12 to 6:15 p.m. It was a special meeting that was after the joint regular committee meeting. We were going to move forward, but it was pointed out that the public notice for this meeting did not include the amendment of the April 9th minutes. And so McKeever made a motion to table the matter with a second by Truca, and that motion passed by a roll call vote. And we adjourned at 6:15 p.m., sir.
Any questions for Mr. Myers? Hearing none, the ad hoc committee for COVID-19 response plan, we met at 6:16 p.m. on April 23rd, and the committee ended up voting to make a recommendation to council that council keep a current civil service list. So I've got a referral here to refer that. It would go to the closest committee for that would go to the Finance Committee because it falls under manpower,
Yes.
compensation. So if anybody wants to make a motion, refer that to committee.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, me,
Yes.
Alsep,
Yes.
McKeever,
Yes.
Myers,
Yes.
Ruka, Yocum,
Yes.
Vote.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, that'll go to the Finance Committee and then Health and Safety Committee, Mr. Myers again.
Thank you. We met 6:01 PM to 7:17 PM on April 28th. All members were present. And the committee called the meeting to discuss EMS and COVID-19 safety services. We discussed the possibilities of the grants for the USDA for the ambulance, as well as the SAFER grant for manpower. And went through information of that with no action taken, and we adjourned that meeting at 7:17 PM.
Any questions for Mr. Myers? Hearing none, Traffic Commission, pretty sure there isn't a Traffic Commission report, is there, Mr. Mayor?
Sorry. No traffic commission board, sorry.
Okay, so we need a motion to accept the committee minutes and related committee reports collectively.
So moved by Myers.
Second vote.
Myers,
Yes.
Vote.
Yes.
Alsep,
Yes.
McKeever,
Yes.
me,
Yes.
Ruka. That's a yes, and Yocum.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to report of city officers, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Maybe some of you know this, maybe some of you don't, but today is the National Thank a Teacher to Teacher Day. And every one of you that I'm looking at, probably everyone from home has stories about teachers who made a world of difference in their lives. And I want to thank those teachers and even any teachers that are watching out there, staff members or administration. It's a very noble profession, and we'd have a lot to be thankful for. On behalf of my family and my wife and all my brothers and sisters who are great teachers here in the city of Bucyrus, beginning in elementary school, it's a thank you. Many of the former teachers that I had are still around and become good friends. Just a few of them, Mrs. Marquardt taught me typing. Mrs. McGrew, an excellent English teacher. My baseball coach, Coach Bowers, Coach Sturgeon, basketball, football. Mr. Gebhardt, geometry. Mrs. Goodhour in the office. Mr. Ulrich and Mr. Sinnott, Mrs. Sweeney, Mr. Matula, math. Mr. Fisher came along right there toward the end. And these are people that have made a difference in a lot of people's lives and in the community. The city of Bucyrus is only as good as the education that we get, and it's for all the 3 school districts that are in Bucyrus, Wintford and Crawford, and certainly Bucyrus. Thank you. It's we need to support it. Second Harvest Food Bank was in town last week for the second time. They're going to be back in sometime in May. They had, I think, 700 food baskets that they passed out at the high school. It's very generous of them to do that, and they had got it down to a science. National Guard was there to help with the distribution. Our local safety forces were there to direct the traffic, so everybody did a great job, and thank you. Today, in case you didn't know that, besides National Teachers Day, it's Giving Tuesday, and this year it's Giving Tuesday and Giving Wednesday. There's a lot of nonprofits in the city who need your help right now. Everybody's getting a stimulus money, stimulus check. And look if you can throw some money their way. There's a lot of people that need it right now. So far, I don't know if you can see that. There's a website, cfcrawford.org, cfcrawford.org. They've already raised, hang on a minute, $43,000. That's fantastic. They had a goal of 50,000. I hope they blow that out of the water today. You got till tomorrow at 8 p.m. So please, and I'll show you all the list. cfcrawford.org. Please be generous. There was a matching component, and I know Doug and Renee Luthold donated $10,000. Thank you. If there's anybody else out there that wants to match, and they certainly can use that. So a lot of people on the front lines in this difficult time. We're going to have some degree of normality. We don't know what that's going to look like. That's going to start next week. Retail is going to open back up on Tuesday. If you are a business owner, there's things that we're putting on our website, the Chamber of Commerce website, just some suggestions of how you keep your staff safe and how you keep your customers safe. Very important. There's excellent guidelines on the Coronavirus Ohio website too. It's going to be with us, these actions for the foreseeable future. And listen, the virus is not going to, like the governor said today, it's more like going to be in the middle of a storm, and we're going to be in that storm for a little while. Not to despair, we will figure a way to get out and about and get things going again. And we just have to know we have to be careful about it. Just keep looking for information. We put it on our Facebook page and our city website as soon as we get it. Please be patient with everybody, especially the retail workers, the people that have been on the front lines, the grocery stores, medical staffs. Make sure you thank them. You know, Chief Kepke has a great saying: "Strive for 5." Call 5 people a day. You know, tell them you're thinking about them. A lot of people in this town that are needing your call. So, and above all, yes, Bucyrus, we ask you to be kind. That's all I got for tonight. Thank you.
Anybody have any questions for the mayor's report?
Mr. President, I have 2 questions for the mayor.
Go ahead, Mr. Myers.
Mr. Mayor, first, it's not a question, it's more of a statement. I received a text message today from former Councilman O'Rourke, and he was asking me to have you look into if you could put the lights on Sandusky back on flash since we have light traffic, and I told him I'd pass that message on to you.
Okay. That's a good suggestion. Let's see how things work next week. Surprisingly, you know, in the first couple of weeks or 2 or 3 weeks, there was a lot of traffic. There was not. Now there's last few weeks have been a lot more. So we'll know more next week as people get out, but it's certainly a possibility. Tell Mr. O'Rourke, thanks for the suggestion.
Will do. And my second question is, and I don't know if there's anything that you legally can share with us, but any news on how Chief Kepke's doing that you can pass on to us?
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up. We've been in contact every day. As you know, Chief Kepke developed the COVID virus 2 weeks ago, and he had a very nasty case of it. He was fortunate that he was able to avoid hospitalization. We are in contact just about every day. And if you're let me read the last message, which I know he wanted to share here. It says, this is from Chief Kepke. Thank you everyone in and around the city of Bucyrus for the beautiful messages of support, the outpouring of love, and uplifting prayers. Recovering from coronavirus has been very challenging, and I want to thank the brave doctors and nurses for the fantastic care last week. And I'm now seeing improvement daily and looking forward to the end of quarantine, May 8th. There we go. That's what the day we've been looking for. I'm truly blessed to be part of the Be Kind Bucyrus family and all in this together. We will come back stronger than ever. Thank you, Bucyrus. And he has one thing. He was given a prescription late last week of the hydroxychloroquine chloroquine, whatever how it's pronounced. Somebody could help me out there. And he thinks that would have a huge difference. That's when he started to turn the corner. I know there's been a lot of good things, and then the next day you hear some contradictions on it. But he said it was a turning point for him. So very happy to have Chief Kepke. He's, of course, he's been through a lot, and if there's anybody who could go through this like he did and bounce back stronger than ever, it will be Dave Kepke. So, and if he's out there watching, hi, good to get a text from you. Thanks for asking, Mr. Myers.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Anybody have any other questions for the mayor? Moving on, Safety Service Director report.
Here we go. We got Jeff's report. We got a referral. Our engineering firm contract will go to the Finance Committee. Effective last Friday, and for the foreseeable future, all garbage routes are back to normal. Memorial Day garbage pickup will be on Tuesday. Okay, so please have it out by 7, just like normal. We'll put that on our Facebook page and on our website. We will be opening the bids on Tuesday, May 12th at 10 a.m. in council chambers through a virtual meeting for material bids. That's next Tuesday at 10 a.m. The mill and pave bid opening, we're working with McKeever and Associates on a date and a time for this bid opening. And as soon as we have that, we will let everyone know. The generator, as I'm not sure who mentioned that earlier, I think it was Ms. Yoakum. We had the quote for $35,000 and the permits are ready to go. There is a federal program called the Shared Work Program. We've been working with all the departments on this program to reduce some stress on our budgets. It's go to a temporary 32-hour work week and still maintain city services. And maybe Ms. Schiffer has something to say about that. She's been working very hard on that, as well as Attorney Ratliff too. So, and Mr. Wagner for sure. The water line expansion, Mr. McKeever, is we had 40 people or so approximately commit to water service. We were aiming for 50. Now, what we did this week is we called about 15 to 20 of them just to see if they changed their minds. Not a one of them had, so we thought that was very encouraging. So we want to know if we can discuss this Thursday. If you want us to go ahead and proceed, you can getting cost estimates. We should have a cost estimate, a rough cost estimate on Thursday for you, but and then what we really need to know is, do you want us to have engineering drawings made? So if we can discuss that Thursday night. So the reservoirs, we've got reached out to some different contractors for quotes for the breach, and that should be by Thursday night also. We still have SM and E Engineering working with ODNR on the remainder of the work at the other reservoirs, and ODNR is receptive to that. More changes we have on the airport, the CARES Act. We received some additional funding to the airport, and it's having a positive impact for us. For all the projects that we budgeted, the council passed a resolution. We appropriated $15,700 for the city's matching 5% of the projects. As a result of the CARES Act, good news, it's 100% funded. So we were able to save $15,700 there. Also, Bucyrus Airport has received a grant from the FAA for $30,000, and that can be used for any lawful purpose that the city and the FAA approves of, stressing operating costs of the airport. This will help reduce the operating costs substantially. Jeff wants to send this reminder out to everybody. Please don't mow your grass in the street. I know it's difficult, but it clogs everything in the drains, and you got a downpour. it can be a real mess. So thank you. I guess that's it for Jeff. So any questions on that?
I've got a quick question for you.
Okay.
You mentioned Memorial Day. Has there been any news about the city's Memorial Day parade, if that's been canceled or is still going as scheduled or unknown yet?
I haven't thinking about that the other day. I haven't heard anything on that. Has anyone else heard anything? We need to find out. Tell you what we'll do. We'll make a phone call tomorrow and to Chucky or Donnie and see what's going on there. And then I would assume it's going to be.
Could you post your findings on the Facebook page for the public? Because I got a couple calls this week asking, and I wasn't sure who.
Good question. Yeah, good questions. I'll take care of that. Again, I'll put it on the Facebook page and send an email out to everybody.
Hey, Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
this is Jim.
Hi, Jim.
I seen a semi water hauler go through town the other day,
Yes.
and I guess they were going down to Delaware to fill up, and they were going back up north after I asked around about what was going on. But I guess our fill station is too slow. That's what I've been hearing, and that's why I'm not stopping here. Wouldn't it be grand if we could like fill a couple of semis every day?
Well, our bulk water business has been up substantially. We closed it last week to actually improve it. We put a larger pipe in, so it shouldn't be an issue with anybody. And we haven't really had any complaints about that. If somebody's driving all the way to Delaware, that's a lot of gas that they're spending to going down there. We haven't got.
It was actually a semi. Then I talked to some of the smaller water haulers around here, and that's what they were telling me, that they were going to Delaware and filling up because they were so much quicker to fill up their semi. Had a better turnaround time.
Yeah, I could check into it, and but we haven't had any complaints here. So we worked on it last year, and it was much faster than we actually last week did more work on it. So
okay.
I'll check in. I'll get an answer for you, though.
All right.
Okay, we got a referral out of this report. We need a vote on the engineering firm going to the finance committee. Does anybody want to make a motion for that?
So moved. Myers.
Second, McKeever.
Okay, Myers,
Yes.
McKeever,
Yes.
me,
Yes.
Luca. That's a yes. Holcomb,
Yes.
Vote,
Yes.
and Alsep.
Yes.
Thank you.
Did anybody have any final questions for the mayor or the service director's report? Moving on, the law director's report, Mr. Ratliff.
I don't think we have any report tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Ratliff. And then the auditor, Mrs. Schiffer.
Thank you, Mr. President. You've got the statement of cash position, our tax revenue sheet and revenue tallies, and then I have a written report to go through here. I'm not going to read you everything, but I'd just like to hit some highlights. But I did go through the comparisons on our taxes, April this year to April of 2019. And withholding taxes, we were down $84,602.16. That is a loss of 16%, and that we're not going to regain that. In business returns, we were down $91,206.83. That's a decrease of 61% compared to last year. And in individual returns, we were down $208,613.81, and that's down 64%. So our loss in revenue for April as compared to last year was $384,422.80. Now, our revenues were up in January, February, and March, thank goodness. So our year-to-date loss is at 28%. The withholding taxes we will not recoup, as I said. Since the tax return filing has been extended to July 15th, that revenue is going to be delayed. If people get extensions on top of that, that could drag some of our revenues into next year before we receive it. But also, as compared to last year, only 39% of businesses have filed in it, as I want to say, to date compared to last year. And so that means 61% need to file yet. And only 28% of individuals have filed. So we still have 72% of individuals to file yet. So we know that the April withholdings that are due by May 15th will be down. And I'm sure they're going to be down much more than what this month was, but there's no way to know how much at this time. We did get together, the administration and I got together with department heads and went through the various funds and where we could identify lines where we could save some money this year. We're not cutting these appropriations at this time because we want to see where we're at, but we're targeting these to not spend at this point. And if revenues don't recoup and we see that we just can't do some of these things, we'll cut these appropriations probably in the fourth quarter. You will see, because of our hiring freeze, we're not replacing our maintenance utility position, and that'll save $20,000. I also have the additional funding from the FAA for, I said for local share at the airport, that's $30,000. But in addition to that, we also have the 15.7 that that actually is for this year's project. So you could add another 15.7 to that. That will come in an additional revenue. It won't change the appropriation per se. Also renewing the swimming pool note at Allmiller. We have to pay that note off and renew it. So that'll increase, if we renew it for the $200,000, that'll increase what we had estimated in revenues by $100,000. So that will help us a little bit this year, but we can't put this off forever. In the street fund, we had cut back on street improvements this year by $500,000. And talking to department heads, I said outside contracts could be cut by $10,000. And here again, the maintenance utility position will save $20,000. In waterworks, infiltration, there were several areas, outside contracts. The lagoon cleaning, I don't know if we can put that off. If possible, we will, but we can't have that lagoon, that lime lagoon overflowing out there. So that'll be something to watch. Chemicals were cut 10,000. And here again, maintenance utilities partially paid out of that. That's 20,000. And also because of OPWC funding for the redundant water line we want to put in on Route 98, since that is delayed, we will have to delay the maintenance on the East Water Tower. So that's $80,000 out of the water fund. Distribution, again, we're just cutting outside contracts, new equipment, new meters, new hydrants, and cut back on training and education a little bit. Sewage disposal, here again, these are cuts to equipment and outside contracts. They found some of the building maintenance that had been budgeted. We may be able to do in-house. That could save $40,500. Chemicals, lab supplies, and we'd really like to, we had planned on paving that road from the Friendship Drive back to the sewage disposal plant. That was $16,500. That might have to be postponed. And here again is the maintenance utility position partially paid out of that fund. And then sewers and drains, we cut outside contracts, and maintenance utility was partially paid out of that fund also. So that's another $20,000. The only thing in solid waste that we felt we could cut, they were going to I'm assuming sandblast. I don't know what all it was going to be, but repainting the trash baskets that we have uptown that are engraved with the city's name on it. So that was $2,400. And in the utility office, and this expense is split 4 ways between water, sewer, solid waste, and stormwater. Since they had gotten some new computers at the end of last year, that new equipment line could be cut $8,500 from each fund. So in citywide possible savings, we got over 1.6 million. But bear in mind that each of these funds, these are only cuts in these funds. It can't go anywhere else. The enterprise funds have to be self-sustaining. They can't contribute to anything in the general fund or anything like that. So then the other way to save some money that we found is a new program offered through the CARES Act that allows employees to collect unemployment if their hours are reduced from 10 to 50%. We've offered this program to our city employees, reducing their hours by 20% or 8 hours per week. Through this Shared Work Ohio plan, the unemployment payment will be paid 100% by the federal government, thus saving the city that cost. If for some reason an employee has to work over 36 hours in a week due to an emergency, he or she would not be penalized. They just would not qualify for that week. AFSCME and the non-union employees are interested and will get back with us with what hours they can reduce. We're working on that right now so that we know by department what their schedules are going to be and how many hours. We're looking to have all the employees working 32 hours a week. If we have 40 employees in this program, we have the potential of saving $70,000 through the end of July, and then we can reevaluate revenues. And that's the end of my report.
Does anybody have any questions for the auditor?
I've got a question, Joyce, on that CARES Act. Does it have an expiration or is it more open-ended through the pandemic period that's maybe we don't know what the end is?
At this point, it's running through July 25th. So that's what we're looking at now. There's a possibility.
Could extend it later if need be, but as now it just goes till then.
Right. And we're doing an MOU with the union. Since in their contract, it says it's layoffs or nothing. They're working with us and we'll have an MOU that goes through July 25th, allowing them to do this. And they've been very cooperative and, you know, everybody's working together. So we're doing what we can.
Thank you. And then I got a question, if I can, Mr. President, for the mayor regarding something in Joyce's report.
I don't know if the mayor's still here. Is he still here?
I see him on camera there. He might still be able to hear us.
Oh, yeah, go ahead, Kevin, ask the mayor. I see him there.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, when she mentioned on the solid waste fund, I know this seems very minuscule compared to, you know, $1.6 million, but the $2,400 on the trash cans, if it's not something that would conflict with union work, if there's anything that I could probably persuade some of my fellow council members that we could pitch in and maybe make that a service project that we could do for the city, maybe if you could check and see if that's something we're legally allowed to do. And if we can do, I'd love to help out.
Well, that's a great idea. I know they're in desperate need of some painting. I hate to think of the thought of them going till next year, but yeah, then we could get somebody to donate the paint. I think yeah. What do you think about that? If we can maybe go to some of the service clubs from individuals, would you be willing to head that up, Kevin?
Yeah, and then any of the council members that want to do that, we can work on that. I think that'd be great.
Okay, great. I'll get let me get with the union reps tomorrow, and I'll get an answer for you.
Thank you.
Thank you. No, thank you.
Hey, the only question I had for the auditor, did we end up getting that UV system out there at the wastewater plant?
No, I think, and I'll have to ask administration because I haven't heard anything about it lately, but I thought we were ready to go out to bid on that.
Yeah.
That's something we really can't put off any longer.
Yeah, we need to
Right.
change that, so you're right.
Okay. Does anybody else have any questions for the auditor? Moving on, we have a treasurer's report that we need to have a vote to accept on that.
McKeever, so moved.
Second vote.
also.
Okay, McKeever,
Yes.
Alsep,
Yes.
Myers,
Yes.
me,
Yes.
That's a yes. Yocum
Yes.
and Fote.
Yes.
Thank you.
Hey, Bruce, you're muted. I don't know if you realize that. We haven't heard you all night there.
I don't think he knows how to turn the mic on.
Oh, there we go. Okay, we need a motion to accept then all the city officers' reports.
So moved, vote.
Was the second?
Second me.
Okay, thank you. Fote,
Yes.
me,
Yes.
Truca,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Alsep,
Yes.
McKeever,
Yes.
and Myers.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, visitors' input regarding the standing or special committees and city officers. Is there any visitor input?
Yes, Vicki DeShawn, 1108 Hillcrest Drive. If the county
We lost her.
Yeah, I
Lost,
think
Vicky. Nothing's coming through, Vicky.
Your camera's
the
froze.
president will remember, I had questioned him back on April 23rd why the ad hoc committee council rules of procedure were now being held as special meetings, previously had regular meetings. Could you remember you responded that refer me to law director for question. So I seen law wrap council procedure things were previously held as regular meetings are now being held as special.
Okay, it was pretty much incopyable, Vicky, but I'm wondering if you turned your camera off, if that would allow your internet to hold up for your audio there. Could you try turning the camera off and asking your question again?
How's that?
Sounding better so far.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, we'll start over. On April 23rd, Kurt, I sent you an email questioning why the April 23rd ad hoc committee council rules of procedure meeting was being held as a special meeting when previously the meetings were being held as regular meetings. You responded that you were going to refer me to the law director for that question. So I would like to ask Law Director Ratliff why the ad hoc meetings are now being held as special meetings rather than regular as they have been previously.
They're being held as special meetings because they're not regularly scheduled. They're scheduled as needed.
Okay, so with that being said, then, are you confirming then that those meetings were in violation of the Open Meetings Act?
No.
Thank you very much.
Is there any other visitors' input regarding standing or special committees and city officers? Hearing none, consideration of proposed legislation for the first time.
Yes, we have two resolutions. Resolution number 217, 2020, authorizing and directing the mayor of the city of Bucyrus, Ohio, in behalf of said city, to enter into a partnership agreement with Crawford County and the city of Galion for the application and administration of the Program Year 2020 Community Housing Impact and Preservation Program, or CHIP. and declaring an emergency. That's referred back to the Economic Development Committee. Resolution number 218-2020, authorizing the Service Safety Director of the City of Bucyrus to acquire the unplatted land parcel 08-00-00000-000UN and declaring an emergency, and that is referred to the Public Lands and Buildings Committee.
Need a motion to accept those as the first reading?
McKeever, so moved.
Second, vote.
Okay, thank you. McKeever,
Yes.
Vogt,
Yes.
Alsept,
yes,
Myers,
Yes.
me,
Yes.
Truca,
Yes.
Yocum.
Yes.
Thank you.
Those will be referred back to originating committee. Is there any public participation? Any member of the general public may present their input or comment on the legislation that's been read for the first time. Hearing no public input. Committee reports on the pending legislation, economic development, Mr. Pope.
Economic development favorable to resolution 217-2020, the CHIP grant program.
And then public lands and buildings, Ms. Yocum.
Public Lands and Buildings is favorable to, 218-2020, to acquire the unplatted land parcel and declare an emergency.
Need a motion to accept those reports?
So moved, vote.
Second, Myers.
Okay, Vogt,
Yes.
Myers,
Yes.
me,
Yes.
Truca,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Alsept,
yes,
and McKeever.
Yes.
Thank you.
Further consideration of pending legislation for the second and third reading of proposed resolution 217-2020, which is the CHIP grant. Do I hear a motion to suspend the rules, waive the reading of the caption and text, and declare it an emergency?
So moved.
So
Yocum.
moved, vote. Second, vote.
Okay, Yocum,
Yes.
Vogt,
Yes.
Alsept,
yes,
McKeever,
Yes.
Myers,
Yes.
me,
Yes.
and Truca.
Yes.
Resolution number 217-2020.
Do I hear a motion to adopt resolution 217-2020?
So
So
moved,
moved.
Myers.
Second, Yocum.
Second, vote.
Okay, Myers,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Vogt,
Yes.
Alsept,
yes,
McKeever,
Yes.
me,
Yes.
Truca.
Yes.
Thank you.
Resolution number 217-2020 is duly adopted. For the second and third reading of proposed resolution 218-2020, which is the Mary Street land parcel, do I hear a motion to suspend the rules, waive the reading of the caption and text, and declare it an emergency?
So moved,
So moved,
McKeever.
Myers. Second, Myers.
Okay, McKeever,
Yes.
Myers,
Yes.
me,
Yes.
Truca,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Vogt,
Yes.
Alsept.
yes,
Thank you. Resolution number 218-2020.
Do I hear a motion to adopt proposed resolution 218-2020?
So moved.
So
Yocum.
moved, vote.
Was that Yocum and Vogt?
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Vogt,
Yes.
Alsept,
yes,
McKeever,
Yes.
Myers,
Yes.
me,
Yes.
and Truca.
Yes.
Thank you.
Resolution number 218-2020 is duly adopted.
Mr. President,
Mr. McKeever.
yes, I'd like to make a motion now to suspend the rules of council to proceed making a motion for us to accept the SAFER grant.
Okay, Mr. McKeever has made a motion, which will
Second.
require a second. To
All
accept the
set.
to accept the SAFER grant, or this is to put in for the SAFER grant.
That is correct.
Okay, I'll do a roll call vote. McKeever,
Yes.
Alsept,
Yes.
Myers,
Yes.
me,
Yes.
Truca,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
vote.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so do we still need a resolution, Mr. Ratliff, drawn up to sign on that, or?
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to have a resolution, it has to be published and all those sorts of things. So, I mean, right now you just have a council motion to apply for the SAFER grant. You don't have a physical resolution to post.
Do we need to make it an emergency?
I think we may have to get a resolution drafted up and then have a special meeting possibly to accept that, and that way it's an official resolution.
Procedurally, what we would normally do in a situation like this is we'd have a special committee meeting to generate that resolution, generally before the meeting, have the resolution prepared and ready to go. And then at the council meeting, immediately following the special committee meeting, you could vote and pass on that sort of resolution.
Do you think we should do that for this Thursday, is get that drawn up for the committee meeting and then have a special council meeting right after that meeting on Thursday?
You could definitely do it that way, since you've already got the committee meetings, and then just schedule a special council meeting at 6:45 or whatever it is. You have 24 hours advance notice at this point, so be easy enough to do it that way.
Okay. Could your office draft that resolution up for us, please?
Yeah, we'll get with Mr. Hill and get something put together. I think what you'd want to do today, though, is if Mr. McKeever maybe modifies his motion and just refers it to Finance Committee to get a resolution. We'll have the draft of that ready for the Finance Committee on Thursday, but get the referral done tonight.
Everything can be done by May 15th?
Your committee meeting is on the 7th, so you can have the committee meeting request the resolution. We'll have the resolution ready for you, and then you have a special council meeting on the night of the 7th and pass the resolution as an emergency at that time.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. I know there's a deadline.
Okay, so I guess
I will amend it.
Okay, we got a motion to amend. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, I'll do a roll call vote. McKeever,
Yes.
Alsept,
Yes.
Myers, Myers,
Yes.
me,
Yes.
Truca,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
vote.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, I had another referral here for the sign ordinance. The BZA, I don't even remember how many meetings ago this was, but they had kind of voted to have council look at the sign ordinance again to clear up some stuff on. So, somebody can make a motion on that.
So moved by Myers.
Second, McKeever.
Okay, Myers,
Yes.
Keever,
Yes.
me,
Yes.
Truca,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Vote,
Yes.
Alsep.
Yes.
Thank you.
Hey,
The sign
Kurt,
ordinance falls under the plating, doesn't it, Mr. Hill?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Plating, yes.
Okay. And
Mr.
Mr. Myers,
President.
did you have a referral on the Bratwurst Festival street closures?
Thank you for asking. I would like to refer the street closures for the Bratwurst Festival to Public Lands and Buildings, please.
So moved.
Second.
Vote.
Okay, Myers,
Yes.
Vote,
Yes.
Alsep,
Yes.
Keever,
Yes.
me,
Yes.
Truca,
Yes.
and Yocum.
Yes.
Thank you.
And then, the emergency proclamation. So the administration says they'd like to have a date next week to be opened, and that would be consistent with the courthouse then, and I guess some other municipalities have already opened. So, I'm going to ask for the mayor. Is the mayor still in here?
I think, yep, there he is.
Hey, Mr. Mayor, if we voted to open City Hall back up with maybe some restrictions that or some procedures like plexiglass, maybe we'll let you decide that. Could we put a possible date on it, maybe next Tuesday or Wednesday here? Open City Hall back up.
I think that's premature. I don't, I think as long as we have active cases in our police department, I think that's a risk that we don't need to take right now. We're considering when we're going to open, and as soon as, like I say, as soon as we feel that it's safe for the public to come in, and we'll work with the health department and get open just as soon as we can. We're certainly considering it, but we're a little premature right now.
Do we have more than one case in the police department right now?
Yeah, we have 2 cases.
Okay, I don't think I was aware of the second case. Okay, excused council members are absent. There are none. Joint
Hey,
regular
what about the
committee meeting.
referral for,
Excuse me, civil service needs to
that's
be.
what I was just gonna say.
Good job, Doug.
We already voted to refer that.
That came after the,
Okay, I just wanted to make sure it didn't get missed.
Yeah, when we had the ad hoc report on the COVID thing. So all that's going into the meeting this Thursday. So if, Mr. Held, you got a list of what we got on the open project list?
Yeah, we have 5 new referrals. We have the engineering firm from the administration, from the service safety director, that's to finance. We have the civil service test, that's from council to finance. We have the sign ordinance from council to plating. We have the Bratwurst street closure that we do every year. That's from council to public lands and buildings. We have the safety grant from council to finance. Already in committee and on the agenda for Thursday. The amendment of codified ordinances 111 and 113, that is in the ad hoc committee on council rules. We have ambulance service, that's in health and safety and finance. And we have, this was in the service safety director's report, we have water expansion, that is an open project in service. And then we will have the special council meeting, full council meeting, immediately following the regular committee meeting and the special ad hoc meeting on council rules. If you have anything else to add for Thursday, let me know now or anytime between now and about noon tomorrow.
The only other thing I wanted to make note here to everybody is we put in the packet here a detailed cost for our different EMS options that we might be facing. Just wanted to get this information out there sooner than Thursday. Just so you all had plenty of time to look over it. And because there's quite a bit of information here. And If anybody had any question on how to read over or how to read this, I'd be willing to answer those questions because it could be pretty complex. So does anybody have any question on that?
I don't have questions on that, but I do have a question on the AEP.
Okay, what's your question on AEP?
Is this the, like, distributing center that Bucyrus selected for its residents? Is that what this is pertaining to? Or is it AEP in general? I'm just confused.
Well, they want to do a rate increase, and they've got a Public Utility of Ohio requirement, PUCO requirement, that they have a public hearing or something. And I guess this literature they distributed said that they don't have to have a public hearing now due to COVID. So it sounds like the rates may be going up here. Do you know any more on that?
Is that for the carrier that Bucyrus residents were in contract with?
No, that's
I don't think so.
This is AEP in general.
That's right.
Okay, that's what I was confused on.
That's AEP in general.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody have any other questions? If no other questions, we need a motion to adjourn.
So moved, McKeever.
Second.
Myers.
Okay, Keever,
Yes.
Myers,
Yes.
B,
Yes.
Luca,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Vote,
Sorry, yes.
all set.
Yes.
Okay, we are adjourned at 8:06 p.m.
Are we done taping?